Better corner in his prime, Rondé Barber or Albert Lewis?
I love Rondé Barber, man. Rondé Barber to me was, you could make the case at that time was a bona fide superstar. He was one of the better ones at his position. Was a Super Bowl champion. I forget which game it was. I think he sealed it with an interception return for a touchdown.
Yeah, NFC Championship against the Eagles.
Against the Eagles, right? That was the game. Let's just say he's also a much better analyst than his brother is, so we'll leave it at that. So I'm going to go Rondé Barber.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rondé Barber, too. And I'll tell you this. Rondé Barber is a Hall of Famer. And I think he's up for the Hall of Fame this year. Mm-hmm. So
yes, he is. Could be.
I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's a second-year Hall of Famer. But he'll definitely be in the Hall of Fame next year because there's so many great Hall of Famers up there. Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning. So there's a fantastic class. It's a fantastic class this year. So I don't think Rondé Barber is gonna make it this year. But what he did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he played for one team his whole career. How many players could you say played his whole career on one team? And Rondé Barber was one of those guys. A team player, straightforward player, never talked crap on the field, actually a quiet player, and he played hard every single time on the field. So it's definitely Rondé Barber.
His brother played for one team, too, and then he retired early.
Yeah, because he had problems with the quarterback.
Yeah. It's all right. They won a Super Bowl the next year, so no one can be mad about that.
Yeah, they did.
Nobody can be mad about that.
It's a shame, too.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw, Derek Ward.
And they call me Earth, Wind, and Beauty.
All right, let's go to the NBA now. Which old school player would be better in today's NBA? Oscar Robertson or Jerry West?
Oh, that's a good one. Oscar Robertson was so athletic, man. Jerry West was an unbelievable player, but to me, Oscar Robertson was a guy that could do it all. I think Oscar Robertson would fit the bill as well. I think he would be more creative as well than people give him credit for anyway, so I'll go Oscar Robertson.
Oh, it's Jerry West, the three-point shot. Jerry West shot more.
So Oscar Robertson did too, though.
Yeah, but not like Jerry West. Jerry West was more of a three-point shooter, but there wasn't a three-point line. It was a two-point line in the time that Jerry West was dominant as a player. And by the way, you know what the NBA symbol stands for? It's Jerry West.
Jerry West.
Yeah, so Jerry West is really transitioned the game of basketball, the shooting-wise, the point guard position, the guard position as a whole, as a shooting guard / point guard. He transitioned the game, and I think he would fit so well like a glove in the NBA game now because of his shooting ability. So I'm going to go with Jerry West.
Really quick, I think a guy that would have also really quick that would have fit really well, Pete Maravich.
Oh, no question.
Pete Maravich would be the best.
That's actually one of my other ones, so we'll use that one another time.
If you never read his book, read his book.
Saw the movie.
Book is amazing too.
Mm-hmm. All righty, let's go to baseball now. Better pitcher that pitched 25 or more years in the league, Jamie Moyer or Mets hitting legend Bartolo Colon?
Interesting. You know, because when you think about it, both of them actually, when they both got older, were still really good. But Colon pitched well until he was like 44 or something, whatever he was, 43.
That's because he was taking something.
Well, yeah, absolutely he was. He did like a bio thing where his whole body was like, they put his organs or something in this solidity thing, and he put it back into his body. It was weird.
He stuck it in a Twinkie bar.
Colon was something else to watch, man. When he was on the Mets, I don't know how he was he threw 87 miles per hour, and he struck 9 or 10 guys out a game.
He was fat. That's why.
Well, that too, but he also made that great defensive play in Miami, which was a great. The one behind the back was. That's the thing. He was very athletic, more athletic than people give him credit for. So I will go Bartolo Colon. Listen, I give all the respect to Jamie Moyer in the world. Dude, Bartolo Colon was so athletic, it was ridiculous.
Let's not forget he also beat D. Gordon in the bag once.
He did.
That says a lot.
He did. It says a lot.
I'm going to go with Bartolo Colon. And really, Brian Cashman is the one that rediscovered Bartolo Colon. He did. And really changed his career. Bartolo Colon that nobody wanted. Nobody even he was playing in the minor leagues, and everybody thought that his career was over. The Yankees brought him up, had a sensational season, and then 5-6 other teams decided to take a shot at him, and he had a sensational rest of his career. I really rediscovered his career as a pitcher, as a finesse pitcher more than a power pitcher. So I'm going to go with Bartolo Colon because of that athletic ability at the weight that he was and as fat as he was. He still dominated the game the way he played.
All right, so second of our Super Bowl-themed ones, another linebacker. Better linebacker in his time, Hardy Nickerson or Derek Johnson?
I like Derek Johnson because when you watched him back in the day, it was interesting to see all over the field. He was interesting. He was intense as well. So, I mean, for me, I would go with Derek Johnson on that one.
I'm going to go with Hardy Nickerson. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers right now. I mean, he wasn't like he
wasn't flashy.
No, he wasn't a superstar player.
No.
But he in the big game, he stood out. And that's the thing. When you talk about the Super Bowl, you talk about a guy that shows up in the big game. And that's what Hardy Nickerson did. And to me, when you want to look at yourself at your career, yes, you're going to have great numbers in the regular season, like a Peyton Manning. And a lot of people look at the quarterback position being the most important. But I think the defensive style of the ball, defense wins championship, and Hardy Nickerson on those teams, those magical teams that he played for, it really stood out his ability in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Hardy Nickerson.
He also played in a Super Bowl with the Steelers, too, against Dallas as well.
Well, his son also plays football now. His son is also on the Minnesota Vikings.
Alrighty, let's go to hockey now. Better defensemen so far in their career, Kris Letang or Drew Doughty?
That's a good one. I'm a big Drew Doughty fan, so I'm going to be a little biased. Drew Doughty was, to me, I was begging for him to hit free agency a couple years ago because I really thought the New York Rangers were going to sign him.
There he goes.
And I would have given him everything and then some to get him. And then he resigned with the Kings. I was devastated. To me, Drew Doughty is the all-around perfect defenseman. I mean, he's a huge asset to winning the Stanley Cups for the Kings. He was one of the best in the league. He still is. You can make the case he's still top 10 in the league, maybe top 15. He's kind of jumped down a little bit, but that's also because the Kings are in a rebuild right now, so it makes it a little more challenging. I give all the respect to Kris Letang in the world, but he's not the all-around player that Drew Doughty is, so give me Drew Doughty.
I like Kris Letang. I mean, he's been on all those championship teams with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And by the way,
Drew Doughty with the Kings.
That's fine, but Letang, what he did in the final championship against the Predators and the way he played was fantastic. What Kris Letang is to the Pittsburgh Penguins is like Patrick Mahomes is to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think
he's a free agent.
Yes, he is.
After this year,
yes,
he's a free agent.
And a lot of teams, and a lot of people will be
I
jumping
know
on
that.
him. They will be jumping on him. I mean,
I would expect all the New York teams to do it.
Yep. He's still 33 years old. He's still in the prime of his career. He's still he's still a good defenseman. A defenseman has 540 points. I mean, that's borderline Hall of Fame numbers.
He just hasn't been able to stay healthy the last year and a half or so. That's just the only issue with him.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Fame, but he's a borderline Hall of Famer. If you look at it, numbers-wise, offensively, he's good, and he's a very good defensive player.
I think Doughty's a Hall of Famer.
He's there. He's right there.
I think he's right there, too. I think they're both borders. That's for sure.
But give me Kris Letang.
All right. Better forward in his prime, Zach Randolph or Sean Marion?
That's a good one.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first, because I have to think about it. Because I watched two of them play.
Oh, there's no question it's Zebo. I mean, Zebo, when he played for Portland...
He was a better shooter.
He was a better all-around player. I mean, first of all, when he played for Portland, he was a dominant force offensively. In the paint, those 17, 18-foot fadeaway jumpers... he did a lot of things good offensively, and he even played team defense. Not the best one-on-one defender.
No, he was terrible defensively.
Yes, no, but a good team defender. Very good team defender. But his offensive game and really the name Zebo came from Walt Clyde Frazier. And when he went to the New York Knicks and he was the leading scorer for the New York Knicks with Antonio McDyess there, I remember. I mean, that was a pretty good Knick team. They weren't great, but it was a pretty good Knick team, a borderline playoff team. But they Zebo really became a star. And then when he moved on in his career, he became very successful everywhere he went. And I just think that when you talk about Sean Marion, he was a good player on the Suns. He wasn't as good and as prolific offensively as Zebo was. So give me the Zebo-a.
I'll tell you this. Marion was a big part of that Mavericks team that won the championship.
He was okay.
He was good. He had one of the most ridiculous shots you've ever seen in your life.
And one of the ugliest shots you ever seen.
It was the absolute worst. But the thing was, he was dominant on those Phoenix Suns teams too.
He was good.
Mean, you can't debate, I'll give it to Marion because of the success that he had with the teams were really good, and I'm not on drugs, although I wish I was sometimes. I'm not on drugs. Dealing with you, I should be on drugs more than that, and then some. I'll go with Sean Marion.
All right, one more. Better single-season defense, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens or the 2003 Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
2000 Ravens, 2003 Buccaneers. The 2000 Baltimore Ravens is one of the absolute best defenses that have ever played the game of football. And to me, they were... Go look at that lineup. It wasn't even just Ray Lewis, dude. They had old guys all up with Tony Saragusa, and they're all over the place, dude. Look what they did in the Super Bowl. They absolutely demolished No offense, Speedy. They absolutely demolished your New York Giants. The Buccaneers knew what the Raiders were going to do.
They didn't have much of a quarterback.
Because it was what'd you say?
They didn't have much of a quarterback, the Giants.
No,
Collins wasn't
Collins,
a great...
I had to say Kerry Collins, but at the same time, the Buccaneers knew what the Raiders were doing because it was the same. Because Bill Callahan had the same playbook that he kept with John Gruden.
He didn't mean much with...
Trent Dilfer?
Yeah, I always forget his name. You forget him.
A lot of people do. I'll go...
The guy that got fired from ESPN.
The Buccaneers had a lot of Hall of Famers on their team. Yeah, he says he works on Fox now, I think, but I never see him on Fox. They call him an NFL analyst on Fox, but he never works for Fox. But anyway, I'll go with the Ravens this one. Although the Bucs have a lot of Hall of Famers on their defense, I'll go with the Ravens.
Oh, it's definitely the Ravens. I mean, Tampa was great. I mean, obviously Warren Sapp and Brooks. I mean, they had a great team, and we were just talking about Rondé Barber. I mean, they had a tremendous team. Yes, I just said Brooks.
I mean, Dexter Jackson was there.
I mean, that was a great defense. But Ray Lewis and Reed and what they had and what they provided defensively.
Reed wasn't even there yet. That's the crazy thing.
Reed wasn't there? I forgot.
No, he was not even there yet, Ed Reed.
You sure about that, though?
Positive. I'm going to look now.
But I think what Baltimore did that year really dominated. I mean, the numbers that they put up and really what Ray Lewis did in that season was fantastic. To me, Ray Lewis was the defensive player of the year for the
Hey, he wasn't there yet. 2002 he got drafted.
There you go. So
that's crazy. That's how good that Ravens defense still was.
Fantastic. But I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. Very good. I forgot how
well,
long
look at
the defensive staff. Good. Yeah.
Marvin Lewis was their defensive coordinator, and Rex Ryan was, I think, their linebackers coach. It's disturbing.
I think they have Del Rio was there.
I think Del Rio was there too. I think he was their defensive assistant, defensive line coach.
There was a lot of good defensive minds.
God.
And by the way, their coach never even got another job after that. So
yeah, I was surprised at that.
Yeah.
Brian Billick.
Yeah, I think he is great. And unfortunately, he never got an opportunity again. One time, I know he interviewed for the Jets job. What was it, like 9 or 10 years ago? Before Rex Ryan, I think he was interviewing for the job. He just never landed it. So it's crazy.
I guess when you're out of the league for 10 years, it's kind of hard to get back into it.
He's done.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's just an analyst now.
I mean, Marvin Lewis actually interviewed for the Jets job, but he was the first guy to be interviewed.
Yeah.
But
I think he'll get another job.
Yes, he will. But I knew he wasn't getting the Jets job.
No, everybody did.
Yeah, but I was very surprised at Marvin Lewis. But that just shows you the respect that Joe Douglas has for these Baltimore Raven known coaches. So he definitely interviewed, and he did his due diligently, and he hired, to me, the best candidate available, and that was Robert Saleh. Either
and
him
it
or
all
Eric
circles
Bieniemy.
back. We talked about the Ravens defense, right back to the Jets and Robert Saleh.
Mm-hmm. There you go. The 4-3.